Welcome back to PBI Radio. I'm Chris Guns, and in this segment, I'm going to be joined by Hammerin Hank Lundy, Philly's own, Mr. Excitement. I'm going to talk to him about his upcoming fight just 2 days away with Raimundo Beltran of Mexico, and I'm going to ask that NABF lightweight champion what he thinks about Adrien Broner coming up to lightweight too. Heard he's not too happy. So let's go ahead and get Hank Lundy on the line. Welcome, Hank Lundy. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good. Tell me about where you're from. You're from Philadelphia. Tell me about it.
From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You know, Philly is known as one of the fight capitals. You know, a lot of things going on in Philly. Growing up in the streets, you know how it is. It's rough.
Yeah, rough. Philly's a rough city. What part of Philly are you from? Are you from where
Philadelphia.
Yeah, and tell me about the Lundy household growing up. What was it like?
Oh man, you know, it was more, you know, the girls was always favorite. Which, you know, we had to fend for our own self, you know.
Yeah.
We had to go out there. The male would go get it. You had to go get it.
Yeah. And who got you involved in boxing?
Well, actually, my senior year, I got into a little scuffle in the schoolyard, and I ended up knocking this guy out. And I went to football practice, and one of my friends came and told me the guy was still knocked out on the ground. So I called my uncle, told him I knocked somebody out. Ever since that, you know, he took me to the gym, and I've been in the gym.
And what gym was it?
Oh, Mary Anderson.
Yeah, and who would you see in the gym in Philadelphia? Tell me about that. Would you train with any known fighters?
Oh man, I used to train with Willie Gibbs, the Gladiator, Gene Brown, the Mitchell twins. You know, it's been a whole lot of guys. Miguel Fingerroller. I've been in there with a lot of guys growing up as an amateur, and I learned a lot from them.
Yeah, and you were 65-5 as an amateur, is that right?
Yeah.
And you won the 2003 Outstanding Boxer Award at the U.S. Boxing Middle Atlantic Association Tournament. What was that like, winning Outstanding Boxer?
It was a good feeling because that year I went up against one of the guys. I forgot the guy's name, but, you know, he was picked to win everything. And I went to Virginia, and, you know, I fought my heart out, and I was victorious. And around that time, I only had about 15 fights, and that was my first trip, you know, going to the Olympic Training Center. It's good.
Yeah. How old were you when you won that?
I had to be, I think I was around 19, just turned 19.
And then you won the 2003 Pennsylvania Gold Gloves Championship. How'd that feel?
Yeah. Oh, that felt good, you know, just staying on the path, working hard. A lot of guys that I see, you know, come in the gym with me, they faded off, and I just stuck to it. It felt good.
And then 2005 National Gold Gloves Tournament, you won silver. What do you remember most about that tournament? That's pretty big.
You know, around that time, even before I made it, you know, to Olympic Training Center again, I actually, you know, was going through, I had to real to my mom. My mom has a medical disorder called schizophrenic. And, you know, I was going through so much, and through boxing, you know, I made it out there, and in a tournament, I was able to beat everybody, and half of the guys I fought, I stopped. There was a lot of anger built up, and, you know, I was at a good place in the ring, unleashing it and letting it out.
Yeah, that's where you want to be with some anger if you know how to keep it under control and work it. In 06, you won the 141-pound championship at the East Central Regionals, Middle Atlantic Championships, and then after that you decided to turn pro. How come you decided to turn pro when you did in 06?
So I fought another Philly guy. He was up there, Card Dogging. He's a good friend of mine now. You know, we and him fought, and I really thought I won the fight. Everybody that he fought never scored over 5 points on it. I scored 15. It was a 15-20 decision. And I felt as though USA, they didn't send their best, you know. And I was hurt by that. I'm training my heart out. This is all I had, man. I felt as though I won. But at the end of the day, you know, there's more politics. and they let him win. And then after that, I decided to turn pro. I got fed up with the amateur game.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. A lot of people get sick of that amateur system and the way it's scored and stuff. A lot of people feel like they won decisions and they ended up losing them. So you decided to turn pro, and do you remember who you fought and where it was and what the result was?
I know it was a second round. No, it was the first round knockout. I forget the name. Oh man, but it was in Rhode Island. And I forgot where the place was at, but I know it was the first round knockout. I hit him with a hook, and he went to sleep. They had to actually get the smell salt to wake him up.
Wow. So that's a way to turn pro. You knocked out Steve Thomas, but you did it in Massachusetts, not Rhode Island. Close enough, though.
Yeah.
Close enough, man. It was your third fight you fought in Rhode Island, but who cares? Then you fought Jose Velasquez. What do you remember about that fight? Jose Velasquez. That was only your fifth pro fight.
You're taking me back.
Taking you back?
That's when I first started, I think I remember that fight. I hit him with a body shot and stopped him.
Yeah. So you remember your things. And then you fought Reggie Sanders, and you were switching it up and turning southpaw and orthodox, and that was your first fight at the Blue. What was it like fighting at the Blue for the first time?
Oh man, it was electrifying. So many greats that came from Philadelphia fought there, and you could just feel electricity in the air. And that night, I fought a guy that had 55 fights. Only had 5 fights. He had 50 more fights than me. And
Yeah.
when I started my journey of just fighting tough fighters, right then and there, I knew I belonged in that sport. And I destroyed that guy. It was a good fight, but after the fight, I put him down like 3 times, but he told me he couldn't let me knock him out because he had a fight in Vegas. And I laughed at it, but I later understood when you get knocked out, it's a 30-day suspension. So I was like, he had to make his money.
Yeah, and he's experienced. He knew how to survive it. Did you feel his experience? Did you feel it?
Well, we did a lot of holding, hitting low, little sneaky shots, and now I learned how to watch out for shots like that and things like that in the ring.
Yeah, he brought you a little further, and then you fought Darnell Giles Jr. What do you remember about that fight? He was 8-0, young fight. That was your first. Was that your first fight on TV? I'm sorry. Was that your first fight on TV? You were on ESPN too.
My first fight on ESPN, yeah.
And do you think that affected the outcome of your performance? Do you feel like you were a little nervous with the cameras there?
No. Ever since the amateurs, I was inciting fighting. And, everybody should, come to the ring and watch me fight when I was an amateur. So I knew I had a little something special, but, when the TV come on, it just seemed like it's something inside of Hammerin Hank that want to get out, and I perform. And that fight, 40 minutes backyard, and I walked away with a draw. Like everybody say, when you fight somebody in their hometown and you walk away with a draw, you won that fight. The rematch, I wasn't able to get the rematch, but it made me a stronger fighter.
How'd you feel not getting the win in that fight? Did it bother you at all?
Well, it bothered me because I got a draw, but once I learned the game, I said, I got a draw in somebody else's hometown. I really wanted to fight, but that just made me train even harder.
And your next fight, you fought Esteban Alvarez, and that was a tough one. Tell me about that. What do you remember?
Well, I know right before the fight started, my coach put my mouthpiece in my mouth, and I couldn't clamp down on my mouthpiece. And right before the fight started, my jaw was broke. I don't know. You know how most fighters they clench their jaw to get ready for a fight. Well, I did that, and it wasn't the same after that. So right in the beginning of the fight, I fought on a broken jaw. He actually put me down twice, but I put him down, and I boxed to win the decision.
Yeah. And then, did you feel like you won that fight? A lot of people thought it was a draw.
Yeah, I felt like I won the fight. I was more busier, and I felt like I was controlling the fight each and every round.
Yeah. Then you fought Jason Cintron. What do you remember about that one? That was a.
Oh man, that fight. you know, I was gunning it for that fight because that guy, Jason Cintron, you know, he was on top. He pulled at the Blue Rise and won a couple fights, and I told everybody, that's the fight I won. Everybody said, no, that guy, he's done special. Well, I said, I told Jimmy, I said, get me that fight. You know? He got me that fight, and I proved to everybody that Hammerin Hank, you know, is something special. I ended up knocking him out.
Yeah, you did. And then a few fights later, you ended up fighting Richard Abril, who fought Brandon Rios recently, and a lot of people thought he won. When you fought him, you didn't have the benefit of seeing him fight. Really, you fought him unknown, really, and he's a lot better than you'd expect. What do you remember about that fight, Richard Abril, down in the sixth round?
You know, he was a guy where he couldn't deal with my speed, and I was hitting him all night. But the only thing he was doing is the same stuff he was doing with Brandon Rios. It's and I controlled that fight. I mean, after that fight with him, you know, his face was busted up, the body shots I was landing, you could tell all over his body. Like, I hands down won that fight. And right now, you know, I beat him, he beat Brandon Rios, but he didn't get the decision. So, you know, to me, I feel like I'm the king of the division.
And then you fought Tyrese Hendricks. What do you remember about that one?
Oh, man, you know, Tyrese, I can't take nothing away from the brother, you know. I put him down, I think it was 4 or 3 times in the fight.
Yeah.
You know, we had a double knockdown, but I got credit for the knockdown. He showed me the will and determination that most fighters have. You can keep getting hit, getting knocked down, and getting beat. But if you got that will and determination to stay in there and fight, you'll do it. And that's what I learned from that fight right then and there. You know, I take my hat off to him because he fought a hell of a fight, kept on coming to fight. He didn't give up.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that double knockdown. You answered it. You're admitting that was a knockdown. Then your next fight, you fight John Molina, your first loss of your career. Tell me about that one.
Well, that fight, you know, I actually went out there and fought sick. After the fight, I ended up was diagnosed that I had food poisoning, and you know, that fight, a lot of people, everybody in the dressing room, they never see, like, I'm always energetic. You know, I was in the bathroom for like 10 or 15 minutes throwing up. You know, I had diarrhea real bad, so all my electrolytes was coming out of me. But, you know, I still went in there, I fought, I was controlling the fight, and everything I did in the ring I had to do to get by. And, like, the second round, I came and told my coach that I have nothing left. Stop the fight. And I'm not a quitter. You know, I fought on a broken jaw. Got hurt. You know, fought with a bruised abdomen, you know. And I trust and believe in my coach. He got me through the fight. But I still respect it if the referee would have stopped the fight when I got caught, rather than stopping the fight when I'm on a rope, you know, with my hands up.
No. So how'd you feel losing a fight like that, though? What did it do to you?
Well, you know, I was leading, winning the fight, winning big, and I was the champ. Let me go out on the shield. If you gonna stop the fight, let me go out on the ground. That's how I will respect it more that way. I was on my feet, and I had one more round to go. It was 30 seconds left in the 11th round. You stopped the fight.
Yeah. Yep.
But you know, I had a bitter taste in my mouth. And, you know, I stepped my game up. You know, to stay off the ropes, and you know what I mean. You know, use my guy, get the talent, and box.
Yep. But didn't go the way you wanted, and you returned to the ring just like 6 weeks later against Omri Lothar. You fought him in Montreal. What was it like in Montreal, going to Montreal for the first time?
You know, I love Montreal, you know, and that's another thing that, you know, I love Clint Johnson for everybody calling him the Road Warrior. But, you know, that's what I mainly turned into to become a world warrior, because I went there, you know, a lot of fans was booing me, but I guarantee after that 8th round, everybody was cheering Hammerin Hank name, chanting my name. When I got out the ring, I received so much love. You know, I got the will and determination to go into a place where there's no fans of Hammerin Hank, and have confidence that after they see me fight, be Hammerin Hank fans, and that's what happened over there.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to show everybody that, you know, that wasn't the real Hammerin Hank in there. And I wanted to get back in there and show the world that wasn't me.
Yeah. You're one of the most exciting guys to watch, always on ESPN. Your next fight came against Patrick Lopez. What do you remember about that one?
Oh, you know, toughest guys I ever fought. You know, a tough, rugged fighter. You know, he was Olympic champ. You know, he came in there to fight, and he did what he had to do. He was a bigger guy, and he was coming in there and trying to knock me out. But you know, I showed my my wisdom in the ring, my boxing IQ, and I outboxed him.
Mm-hmm. In the audience, Vinny Pazienza was. Did he say anything to you? Was he impressed at all? Vinny Pazienza was there that night. Don't know if he said anything to you.
He always came up to me. He said, "Hank, you remind me of me, man. That heart, that determination. You know, to go in there and let it lay out on the line, and even to perform, to take risks in there. A lot of fighters don't want to take risks.
Yeah.
They want to stay behind soft competition. You know, I take risks every time I get in that ring. And Vinny Paz, he's been like a mentor to me and a big brother. And as long as I got him backing me, giving me the wisdom and everything that I need to learn in the game, I'm cool.
Yeah, Vinny was exciting too. I knew he'd like you. I knew Vinny would like you. What about David Diaz? The David Diaz fight, former champion. How'd you feel in there with former champion?
Oh, I felt real good. I know this guy been in there with Pacquiao. Pacquiao knocked him out in the 9th round, and I felt good. I did it in the 6th round, taking nothing away from Diaz. Diaz was a hell of a fighter. Caught me on the tip, I went down. And that showed you my composure and how far I grew in the game. I got myself together and was able to land a devastating left hand and put him out. And I wish he could come back and continue his career, but sometimes us fighters know when to let it go, and he retired. And I appreciate David Diaz for giving me that chance and opportunity.
And how do you feel retiring someone who was a champion and fought people like Pacquiao? You made him decide to pack it up.
I can say it's somewhat I was happy, but you never want to see you retire someone and take away their dream. I was glad it happened, where so he wouldn't try to continue and get hurt.
Yeah. And then your next fight, your last fight against Danny Williams, you were down in the 1st round. Tell me about that.
Well, in that fight, everybody was talking about Danny Williams' punching power, and Danny Williams, I remember him in the amateurs. I was fighting at 41, he was fighting at 32. So I always knew I was bigger than him. I remember him. He had little boxing skills, but I knew, going into that fight, I was the bigger guy. I kind of wanted to test his power, see how hard he's punching. He caught me on the triple with another good shot. We got into a exchange. He came over top and caught me. And, my glove touch. I didn't completely go down. My glove touch. And I respect the ref for, calling a knockdown because he said your glove touch, he called the knockdown. And then after that, I kind of laughed at him. And I knew in Danny Williams' mind, everybody I touched, I put them to sleep. They get knocked out. I hurt people. That's what he was saying. It's for a different fighter that night. When you hit Hammerin Hank, you're not going to knock me out. I'm going to get up and I'm going to finish the fight. And I told Danny Williams, you've been in that ring with me, you're going to walk through hell. And that's what I did. I made him walk through hell.
Yeah, you did. You got up and made him pay. And you got your next fight coming up 2 days away against Raimundo Beltran. What do you know about him?
Well, I know Raimundo Beltran, he's sparring walking against Pacquiao. Freddie Roach training. He's a guy that, he let it all hang in the ring. His last 2 fights that I watched, I seen him fight Sharif Bulgaria, and I really can say he won that fight to me. But, he's facing Hammerin Hank now. Taking nothing away from me, but, a lot of guys ask me, what must you do, in order to win this fight? I say go in there and beat Hammerin Hank. Use my God-gifted talent boxing. If the knockout come, the knockout come. I know he's a straightforward guy. He's going to come put pressure, and I'm ready for that. I'm ready to shock the world and move on and fight for a world title.
And what do you, if you do get by Raimundo, how far away do you think you are from a world title shot? And you got Adrien Broner coming up. Don't forget. I know you got into it a little with Adrien Broner wanting to come up to 135. What do you got to say about Adrien making that move?
Well, first and foremost, I paid my just due in this lightweight division. And I ain't gonna let nobody come in here and try to house my spot. First of all, I'm number one in the WBC. Number one mandatory to fight for a title. So he can't jump over me. And, you know, like I've been telling you, at 135 is a different weight class from 130. Now, when he come up to this weight class and he challenge Hammerin Hank, I'm going to take the fight. You know, I'm going to show him what a bona fide 135-pounder can do. He say, oh, I hit the canvas. But I put it like this. The guys that I fought, he can't even deal with. I never played this safe in the ring. Anybody that they put me up against, I never turned them down. I fought them. I never hand to pick my opponent. Everybody that you see me fought, everybody that I fought, you know, been killers.
Yeah.
The record of my last, you know, 5 opponents been 100 and I think it was 110 with 110 wins with 8 losses. Now you backtrack his guys that he been fighting.
Yeah. He's definitely been taking a little bit easier of a road. You're from tough Philly, and you sound like you're from Philly, and and it sounds like you're issuing him a challenge. You're not waiting for him to issue you the challenge.
You know what? You know, we got on into a little Twitter beef, and like I said, at the end of the day, you talk a lot. Let's put up. I'm ready to fight any given day. You know, I'm always in shape. I'm always in the gym, and I'm always going to make weight. You know, so let's get it.
Yeah, it sounds like a fight I want to see. That's the 135 welcome I want to see Adrien Broner in. Thank you, Hank. Good luck on Saturday. Appreciate it. Or Friday, my bad. It's Wednesday. Good luck against Raimundo Beltran. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, like I always end it, Hammerin Hank coming to a city in town near you is Hammer time. Thanks for the love.
We'll be watching. Good luck, man. Take it easy.
Appreciate it.
There you have it. Exciting TV fighter. Make sure you catch that fight. Hammerin Hank Lundy against Raimundo Beltran on ESPN2's Friday Night Fights. And follow me on Twitter at Chris2Guns. Thank you.